What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I just wanted to go into, I know I went into it briefly, but today's basketball games and the few college games. Now, I am going to say I'm not really going out of my way to play. If you notice, Thursday games, and sometimes the Friday games too, they're really just crappy teams, usually, not always. We have, I think, Washington playing or Utah playing, yeah. So, I mean, it's not always, but usually you're not going to have a good game that I can get some metrics off of, like TCU versus West Virginia. So, I don't go out of my way to play these games. It's also, in my opinion, it's going to be less narratives and more just based off the live action because they don't really care about many of these teams. Now, that being said, I do think they do give away some in the articles and things of that nature. So if I had to pick, and I might play this game, I haven't decided yet. I do like NC State here, and of course it's at 13.5. I'd probably leave it. I might buy it at 13. Believe it or not, you do get quite a few 13-point games. But it's under 14, which is good. And the reason I like them is, A, they're ranked, yes, and they're at home. But they're 14-point favorites here, and they're only just ranked. Meanwhile, you'll consistently see teams that are ranked, Utah's are ranked here versus unranked, only giving up 7. And I just find it interesting. And a lot of times when I see that, like a ranked team giving up a lot of points, but they're a low-ranked team, a lot of times they'll cover. So anyway, the reason I like them is they go out of the way to say that they have a tweaked offense. Now, typically when they go to say these type of things, then you'll see it in the game develop. Like, oh yeah, coach, bum penny pincher happened to switch to a 2 halfback scheme, so they're really looking good now. Or whatever okay, his name's Brent Pry. But whatever the reason is, whether they switch to a spread, whether they have 2 different quarterbacks coming in, whenever they talk about this in college, these 2 different or this tweaked offense, how they switched it up. I'm trying to get more of the specifics. It does seem to favor the team. I guess they're not. They do it in the NFL too. They'll say, oh yeah, this team's changed this up, and they'll wind up doing crazy. So if I had to, of these games, I do like NC State to cover at the 13, at 13.5. I think they win handedly, just because I think they're going to push this new offense. Regarding the other 2, to me, they're essentially coin flips. This one, Washington State, if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably take Washington State with 7. Maybe I'd buy a point or something because, again, I don't think a team that's ranked at 14 in the nation, even on the road, should only be giving up 7 to Washington State here, who I don't even think is in the top 40. I looked at them. The entire college ranking. So to me, this line isn't very accurate. I think Utah, even on the road, should be giving up around 10 at the minimum, but that could just be me. So if I had to play these games, Washington State, North Carolina State to cover. I'm sorry, yeah. And then Louisiana Southern Miss, all I can say is Frank Gore's son is on Southern Miss. So you can do with that what you want. Again, this is not a game I'd run out of my way to play. We'll be doing college. We'll be doing TCU. We will be doing Penn State. We will be doing probably Miami, Kentucky. We'll be doing a lot of these games. I just don't like these couple games here. These random teams that aren't going to finish anywhere. So that's what I have, like I said, for football. We'll be going more into that. The NFL, I did make my decision. I went with Tom Brady. And, I got him at a point. So they've moved it to 2. This line opened around even. And this is what Vegas will do. And for that reason, I like Tom a little more now. They will open a game at about a half a point. And it'll close about one team being almost a field goal favorite. And a lot of times that team will win by exactly a field goal. And what will happen is half the people will lose the bet and the other half will push. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened where the Bucs win by exactly 3 with the way this line has moved. But for tonight's game, I really like Tampa Bay. I looked at two conflicting narratives, and I'll go over the narratives again because they both stand to reason. The first one is they have been making the black quarterbacks and even mixed quarterbacks look very foolish this year when they're playing white quarterbacks for whatever reason. And the numbers don't lie. I was brought to my attention when you look at the stats, when you look at the wins, losses, if there's, say, 5 matchups in a week between a black and white quarterback, the white quarterback's winning 4 of the 5. It's a weird thing, and it's been happening all year. Now, we have some exceptions, like Hurts is obviously going to win his games, and we did at Fields just beat the Patriots. But it's very interesting. I brought it up in my last video, and I'm not one to look for racism and things like that, but with the numbers that I was, especially like the first 4 weeks or something it was, the numbers I was seeing was extremely lopsided, and it just was pretty interesting. That being said, the other narrative is Tom Brady putting over new guys, and not new guys, but the future of the league. Just like he just put over Patrick Mahomes a few weeks ago on prime time. So I look at all that and try and come to a decision, and then I basically decided I would let my metrics be the tiebreaker. So I have explained before how teams just don't not win a game against the spread. They might do poorly, but they're not going to go, 0-16, 1-15 against the spread. And I also mentioned how playoff teams usually do pretty good at home against the spread. So the fact that Bucs, and we got the Ravens, but they're not playing at home, you see that arguably 3 of the best teams in the league have not won a game at home against the spread. No doubt those were Vegas traps. But again, those metrics don't continue. You will not see a team finish sometimes with at home, like last year the Falcons I think were 1-7. But even that, they didn't make the playoffs. If you look at playoff teams, they're usually around 500. So looking at the against the spreads, looking at the different theories, I do think both these teams go to 4-4. It just makes them more of a threat in their division. I think people want the Bucs not. I don't think they're the Lakers. I don't think people want the Bucs looking like clowns. I just think they want to force this Brady meltdown kind of narrative. So I could totally see a loss, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I really believe that Tom's going to win this one. When I accounted for everything. So as you can see, I think I already played this one. I thought I did because I thought I got in at 1 point. There we go. I got in at 1 point. It's a first sequence, and I do like Tom. You know how I feel about the Broncos for our 4th leg. And then I'll go into today's basketball games. So for today's games, here's the issue I had. I looked at them and I said, these games look so obvious, Mavericks, Clippers, Warriors, Grizz. But that's too obvious, right? Like they're going to set a trap. And I figured the Kings or even the Clippers again, or Thunder, would be the possible trap games. It could be the Heat, but I don't think they would. I think they would. I don't think they're going to start the Warriors 2-3. Again, they have started this year as them versus being the. Oh, and I noticed someone I didn't get to see exact. They're bringing up it's funny because it's a different video, but I'm curious his narrative. So he's saying he doesn't think the white versus black narrative is going to hold. He thinks it's kind of dated, and I agree, Cheese Guy. Like I said, I try not to look for race. I don't think these people care that much. I think they care more about money than they do about race. I don't think race is their first priority. I think they look at all of the players like animals and their personal objects, these owners. So I don't think they're looking like if they care that much if a white guy does better than a black guy. Now, maybe if somebody's secretly related to the owner, I could see. But I just brought it up because it's been brought up a lot, and the number is pretty staggering when you look at in favor of the white quarterback. But I agree. I think they want to get more to the narrative, which in this case would be the Bucs have to be a pretty competitive team, and they're got to win some of these games at home. So I do like Tampa, and I agree with that assessment that theory was only a theory that I brought up because it was mentioned quite a few times. Now back to the NBA. Again, it seems easy, in my opinion, to say the Mavs, Thunder Warriors, and Grizz are all going to win. But then we'd have a lot of teams a lot of players putting out 14 parlays and winning. So then you wonder which team's going to be the trap, or is there going to be more than one trap? But then I saw something interesting, and I brought this up in my last video. We are very possibly looking at not the Western Conference Finals, but the game before that, with the divisional, whatever you want to call it. I think it's divisional. These are the 4 teams that are going to, maybe if you substitute the Grizz for like Portland or something, or Phoenix. But really, I mean, Mavericks, Clippers, Warriors, Grizzlies, those are basically the 4 teams in the West I see remaining almost. So I find it very interesting. Those are the exact 4 teams we have playing. And I just want to answer this too. Yeah, there's a good bit of examples of white quarterbacks doing the job, and this year too. There's like I said, we just had it last week, a couple times. Like I said, when the numbers were brought to me, it was just like the first 3 weeks, it was like 1-5 in favor of the black. The black quarterback had 1 win, the white quarterback had like 5 wins so they'd go like 5-1, 4-1, and that was like 3-4 weeks in a row. So it just was interesting to me. But yeah, you could be right. I think they definitely reserve certain games no matter what. So again, this game, I think they care more about the narrative, which I think is going to be Brady getting back to 500. Maybe they're going to get going. I think that Julio Jones is returning. So I think it'll be more about the narrative. I did notice a couple conflicting theories, and I wanted to address them. But back to this, the thing I found interesting is I think they're going to show off these West teams. They're going to show off the Mavericks. That way when they go to the Warriors game, they can show us all about Luka time, which I would think then they're going to have Curry look good. So subliminally, they're putting in people's heads already, ooh, Mavericks, Warriors, can't wait to see that again. And then you got the same thing with the Clips and the Grizz, where, they play back-to-back. So I'm not saying all 4 of these teams are going to win, but because of the teams they chose on tonight's lineup to play, these specific 4 teams, I really do like the Western teams. So I went ahead and picked Luka. I took them -1.5, so I bought down a little bit. Okay, I got him at 2. I thought I got him at 1.5. But anyway, this is what I have. So I got Luka -2. I did parlay the Clips and the Warriors, because the Clips I could see blowing that spread. I don't see them losing against the Thunder. It'd be an interesting story, but I think they want to present them as a strong team, not like the Nets and the others. So them and the Warriors I just parlayed to win. That's a first sequence. And then I got the Bucs, obviously. Now, I haven't played this game yet, but I will if we're in a second sequence, or I might play it anyway. Again, it goes kind of against my theory, because my theory is the 4 teams in the West win, the main ones. My question is, and please don't say people are sleeping on the Kings. I looked at their roster and how they've played. They're not good. The Portland game these games shouldn't have even been close. They're one of those teams that they have a bunch of people that come in, and for some reason they're left wide open and they make shots, and most of their shots are uncontested. It's not like they're playing great basketball. Fox can shoot the fucking lights out. I'll give him that. But yeah, anyway, he's good at driving too, but he's not Ja. So I thought it was interesting that we have Sacramento only getting 3 points here against a very possible Western Conference contender, like a team that might go to the Western Conference Finals. Team that with Ja Morant, everyone was saying would have beat the Warriors last year. So to me, it's very odd that the Kings are only giving up 3. So my theory that the Western teams, the top Western teams, all look good to get people excited for the playoffs, I think holds. That being said, with this trap, this is the only one I'm not 100% sure on. To be honest, I like I like the Clippers and Warriors. I like the Mavericks to cover. In this specific game, I'd probably go Kings. I just don't get the 3 points. And again, it's going to be the last game after the other three. People are going to have seen everything. You can make Ja look really strong, lose the game, and I don't think it kills the narrative that much. But we'll see. We'll be able to look more into it. I just find it very odd that these guys, with a healthy Ja, are only giving up 3. Now, are they going to pull something where they say he's injured or they get someone in foul trouble and that's why Sacramento covers or wins? I don't know. But like I said, my theory was the 4 big teams here in the West that are probably going to be, at least 3 of them will be representing the Western Conference Finals. They are going to win. And the Grizzlies Kings, the only thing that threw me off really was the line. So right now, I'd slightly lean with the Kings plus the 3, believe it or not, just because the line is so suspicious. On the other 3, I do like the Warriors and the Clippers on a money line, and I do like the Mavericks to cover. And last video, someone asked if they could see my sequences, so I'm going to go back and show them. So these ones we won, so they're kind of done, but we had chose the Knicks Patriots. The Patriots lost, so we doubled up with the Knicks and the Wolves. They won. We went with the Nets. They lost that night. So later that night, we took the Suns. They won. We have the Phillies outstanding. I went with the Phillies. I think they're going to win Game 1 because so much money is on for Verlander. Some we win right on the first leg. This one here, we lost at the Pistons plus 6. We lost the Magic plus 8, and we lost the Lakers plus 7. So I decided to do a 4th leg, Broncos plus 3. And this to win $200, which will be our original increment and $25. So we'll have profited on this entire sequence. And then you'll just see on all of them. Toronto came through for us last night on the 2nd leg. The Heat came through for us, and etc. So that's how the system works for the people that were asking. Now, for tonight, these are the 3 that I have. I have Dallas minus 2. I have the parlay, and I do have the Bucs. Like I said, I'll probably play NC State. I might play the Kings. I'll probably play the Kings no matter what, to be honest, because I'll be looking at how the other games go. And if the other 3 teams win like I'm thinking, and they're looking really strong, then I might finish it off with the Grizzlies. But if it's looking, let's say the Clippers barely win, the Heat win, then my theory doesn't stand, and I'm really thinking the Kings do win on that trap game. So that one is subject to change. Right now, I am leaning Kings, but it's a very close one, and the lines are also probably going to change. So don't worry, I'm definitely going to get that out there. I like to see the 7 o'clock games sometimes because they help me make a better decision on the 10s. Like, for example, I think the Mavs and Warriors game, they're going to be pretty connected. Just my thought. And look at the teams they're playing. 2 top AFC or East teams. Not AFC East. Just 2 top East teams. And again, I know people might say Brooklyn's not a top team. Again, Joe Public says they are. So, yeah, I think the Mavericks tie it up 2-2. I think Clippers go to 3-2. Warriors as well. And the Grizzlies should go 4-1. But right now, I'm saying Kings with the points because it looks like a trap. So that's really all I have. I don't have a lot of hockey. I've been waiting on the Nashville Predators. They're the only team left that is winless or undefeated against the spread. And unfortunately, they are playing tonight. Okay. So since the Predators are playing tonight, I like them minus 1.5. They're the only team that has not covered a spread yet. I love this metric. I think it's a great metric. And you'll see against the spread, we have an 0-5, and that is Nashville. The Ducks just covered it the other day. And if you remember, we picked the Senators a couple days ago because they hadn't covered it. Then you'll see where they at. Not sure where they're at. Anyway, the Senators, they hadn't won against the spread, then they finally did. But same with the Kraken. They had won every game against the spread, and then we faded them. So here we have the Predators as the lone team against the spread that has not won a game. So in this case, I am going to take the Senators, or not the Senators. I'm going to take the Predators minus that 1.5. Because, again, It's a very important metric. It works. It's proven. And when we can get these kind of odds here, 1.5 odds, that's not bad. So this one I'll go 16.50 because we want to be able to go 4 or 5 legs on these ones, because in hockey, when you're giving up 1.5 on the puck line, it's not a small amount. It winds up adding up. So that is my hockey pick, and I'm going to add that now just so everybody knows and can see it. Sequence 91 is going to be the Predators minus the 1.5. And that's going to be a first sequence, so that means we're only going to be betting to win about $25. So in this case, it was about $16.50, so 17 to win 25. And that's how it works. I wasn't going to do hockey, but like I said, I thought the Predators were playing tomorrow. So those are my picks. We got all sports covered, really. We got the Predators in here. We got the Bucs. We got some basketball. We got the Phillies in here. And we even have some college where I'm probably going to go with NC State. So those are who I like today. I wanted to go into them. That way everybody got to see my picks and who I liked. And I'll do some more digging on the Kings and go into that game a little bit later. If I think, I think the Grizzlies are definitely going to win. But right now I am leaning Kings with that spread. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.